Hi there, welcome to PyQt5 Story 3. My name is Darlington Nkwaze. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use QFormLayout and QGridLayout. These are classes that allow us to arrange widgets just like the QHBoxLayout and the QVBoxLayout. The QFormLayout allows us to arrange widgets like a form, while the QGridLayout allows us to arrange widgets by specifying the particular rows and columns where we want the widgets to be, and also specify the row span and column span that we want the widgets to have. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to use them. We're going to use the two types of layouts to create this form here. Alright, so without wasting much time, let's dive into it. Now I have a file open here. This is the file that I used for the previous video on QHBoxLayout and QVBoxLayout. I'm going to use the same file for this video. I already have what I need imported here. Okay, although in the previous video I didn't use Qt Core and Qt GUI, but I'm going to use them in this video. So to begin, I'm going to comment some of this out. I'm going to do them all at once. Okay, now I'm going to save it and run it. Okay, and now it's blank. So what I'm going to do is remove this background color, save it and run it again, and now it's clear. Okay, the background color is no longer there, so we can begin. So I would say form layout. Let's start with the form layout, then we'll move to the grid layout. Okay, so to create the form layout, we would say or let's first create labels, then after that we would add them to the layout. So first we would say self.label is equal to Qt widgets dot q label. Okay, and this should be name. Okay, and would say self dot main widget. Okay, this main widget here is the same as what we have here. Okay, because we made it the central widget. Okay, so then I'm going to say self.line edit is equal to Qt widgets dot q line edit. Okay, so we're creating the widgets first, then after creating the widgets we'll add them to the form layout. We would create the form layout and add them to the form layout. Okay, so here I would say full name. Okay, and would say self dot main widget. Okay, and now we're going to say self dot form layout is equal to, once create the form layout now, Qt widgets dot q form layout. Okay, and we say self dot main widget. Okay, and now we're going to say self dot form layout to add the widgets. Now would say self dot form layout dot add row. Okay, and the first parameter would be the label. That's conventionally the first parameter will be the label, while the second parameter will be the field. In this case it's the line edits. Okay, so would say self.label and self.line edits. Okay, so now we're going to save it and run it, and now you can see name and full name. All right, so let's continue. What we're going to do now is just copy this and paste them here, and then change this to 2 and this to email, this also to 2 and this to email address, and here we're going to copy this, paste it here, and this will now be 2 and this will be 2. Okay, and then save it. So basically we are adding this second label and this second line edit to the form layout here. Okay, so I'm going to save it now and run it, and now you can see email and email address. Okay, so I'm going to cancel it, and we'll copy this again, paste them, then change this to 3 and this to 3, and I'm going to change this to phone and this to phone number. Okay, and I'm going to copy this and paste it here and change this to 3 and this to 3 also. Save it and run it. Now you can see phone and phone number. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this now, and let's add the submit button. So to add that, we'll create the submit button or the push button. So we'll say, let's call it push, yeah, button is equal to Qt widgets dot q push button, and would say submit and self dot main widget. Okay, and now we're going to copy this and paste it here, but this time we want the push button to span the two columns. Okay, so we're going to say self dot push button. That's why we only have that. We're only going to have this push button here. Okay, so this push button will occupy the two columns. All right, so save it and run it, and now you can see the push button here, the submit button. Okay, so this is the first column, this is the second column, and the push button is spanning both columns. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this now, and yeah, let me also say something. Okay, so this is the first row and it has an index of 0. Then this is the second row, it has an index of 1. This is the third row, it has an index of 2, and this is the fourth row, it has an index of 3. Okay, and remember the push button or the submit button, as it is here, is spanning the two columns. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this, and there is another way to do this. Okay, a shorter way actually. Let me just comment all of this out. Okay, so we could do it like this. We could just say self.form layout, that's to create the layout now, is equal to Qt widgets dot q form layout, then self dot main widgets. Okay, and then we could say self dot form layout dot add row, and then I would say the first one should be a label. Okay, so Qt widgets dot q label, and then the second one should be a field. Okay, so let's say Qt widgets, a line edit now in this case. Okay, dot q line edit. Okay, sorry, and here let's say this should be full name. Okay, and here this should be name. Okay, and save it and run it, and now you can see name, full name. Okay, we could do the same thing for the email. Okay, so copy that, paste it here, and change this to email, and change this to email address. Okay, save it and run it, and now you can see email address. Okay, and then you can do the same thing for the phone number. So change this to phone, and this to phone number. We're not using any input mask in this video. Okay, so just save it and run it, and now you can see phone number. Okay, and now we can add the button. So you could say self dot form layout dot add row. Okay, and this will now be Qt widgets dot q push button, and would say this should be submit. Okay, save it and run it, and now you can see it here. Okay, so we've done the same thing we did before. Okay, but this time we used a shorter method. Okay, so I'm going to cancel it. You might just be wondering how we would retrieve this. I mean, if we did it this way. Okay, so to retrieve it, there's a trick I use. We could say, let's say we wanted to retrieve this. Okay, the full name. Okay, the full name is in the first row. Okay, and in the second column. Okay, so we would say, this is what I mean. Let me run it again. So it's in the second column but in the first row. Okay, so cancel it. Would say self dot form layout dot item art, and the first thing we would put here is the row, and then the second thing would be the field row. Okay, in this case it's a line edit, and field rows usually have an enum value of 1. Okay, so let's say 1. all right, and then I would say dot widgets, because we're trying to grab the widgets. Okay, and then I would say text. Okay, and I wanted to print it out for me, so I would say print. Okay, so now I'm going to save it, and if I run it, you can see full name here at the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to cancel it, and let's do the same thing for the email address. Okay, so the email address is in the second row. Okay, so that's 1, but it's in the second column. Okay, which is still 1. So I'm going to save it and run it, and now you can see email address here at the bottom. Okay, we can do the same thing for the phone number. Okay, so it's in the third row. Okay, that's 2, and in the second column again. So save it and run it, and now you can see phone number at the bottom. Okay, so far we've been looking at field rows. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's try to get this submit text here. Okay, so to do that, we know that the push button is in the fourth row. Okay, so that's 3, and this time we're looking at a spanning row. Okay, a spanning row is a widget that spans both columns. Okay, so this will have a value of 2. Okay, so if we save it and run it, you can see submit here at the bottom. Okay, so basically let me just write out the num values here. So for label, let me put a comment here. Okay, so for label widgets, okay, the value is 0. For field row, the value is 1, and then for spanning row, I don't know why I'm confusing row with row. Okay, so this should be 2, right? So these are the values for each of them. Okay, so if we wanted to get the label here, for example, we would change this to, because we know that it's in the first row, that's 0, and this time it's a label widget. Okay, so we'll put 0 here and save it and run it, and now you can see name here at the bottom. Okay, so that's how to retrieve it. And if you wanted to make it bold, let me comment this out. So copy this and paste it here. Okay, remove all of this. If we wanted to make it bold, we could say set font. Okay, and now let's create that font. Okay, so I would say font is equal to QGridLayout.QFont. Okay, and I would say font.set bold is true. Okay, save it and run it, and now you can see that name is bold. Okay, we could even set the style sheet. Okay, we could come here and could copy this, paste it here, and then say set style sheet. Okay, let's give it a color of blue, save it and run it, and you can see the color has changed to blue. Okay, so these are things that you could do. Now let's use the grid layout to do the same thing that we did with the form layout. Okay, I'm going to comment all of this out. And this. And to save time, I'm going to copy all of this because I'm going to need them, and I'm going to paste them here and restore them. Okay, then I'm going to come here and say grid layout. Okay, and so now let's create our grid layout. So we'd say self.grid layout, is equal to Qt widgets dot QGridLayout. Okay, and we'll say self dot main widget. Okay, we already have our widgets here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is say self dot grid layout dot add widget. Okay, and the first widget we're going to add is this label here. Okay, so we're going to say self dot label, and we want it to be in the first row 0, first column 0, and we want it to have a row span of 1 and a column span of 1. So save it and run it, and you can see it here now. Okay, initially I'm sure they were all crammed at this edge here. If I cancel this and comment this out, you'd see that they are all crammed at this edge here. But if I restore this, so I put self there and save it and run it, you can see name is out. Okay, so now I'm going to add the first line edit, and this time it will be in the first row but in the second column. Okay, so I'm going to save it and run it. It doesn't show yet. Oh, sorry, that's because I didn't change this to line edit. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to save it now and run it, and now you can see name, full name. Okay, so now we're going to add this label 2. To do that, we're going to paste this again, change this to label 2, and then it's going to be in the second row now, that's 1, and in the first column, which is 0. Okay, then row span 1, column span 1. So save it and run it, and now you can see email here. Okay, for the line edit 2, we're going to paste it here again and change this to line edit 2. Okay, and this time it will be in the second row but in the second column. Okay, row span 1, column span 1. Save it and run it, and now you can see email address here. Okay, cancel it, then we'll do the same thing again. Okay, change this to label 3. Okay, label 3 now will be in the third row, okay, which is 2, and then first column, which is 0, row span 1, column span 1. We'll save it and run it, and now you can see phone here. Okay, we're going to add the line edit now, so change this to line edit 3. Okay, it will be in the third row again, but this time in the second column, which is 1, row span 1, column span 1. Save it and run it, and now you can see phone number. Okay, we'll cancel it, and now it's time for us to add the push button. Okay, so we'll paste this again and change this to push button. Okay, this time it will be in the fourth row, okay, which is 3, and the first column. Okay, but this time it's going to have a row span of 1 but a column span of 2. Okay, it's going to span the 2 columns. Okay, so that's why I'm giving it a column span of 2. Okay, so we'll say 2, save it and run it, and now you can see the push button here. Okay, to make it look like our form layout, we're going to set the alignments. Okay, so we're going to say self dot grid layout dot set alignment. Okay, and now we're going to use Qt core. Say Qt core dot Qt dot align top. Okay, save it and run it, and now you can see it's aligned at the top. Okay, so now it looks exactly like what we did with the form layout. All right, so I'm going to cancel this. Now you can change the alignments. You can change this to bottom, save it and run it, and now you can see it's at the bottom. Okay, let's change it back to top. So run it again to be sure. Okay, so it's at the top now. So cancel this, and I think we can stop here. So that's basically how it goes. If you enjoyed watching this, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, comment, because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. Also hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.